All right, guys, back to work. Boy, fantastic session comes to an end. What a squeeze we saw this afternoon. Hope you guys made a ton of money out there today. Now, boy, back to work. Big day coming tomorrow. We got this big move going higher this afternoon. I think everyone's waiting for a pullback right now. Right now, pullbacks, they seem so easy in theory. Just buy the dip. It sounds so easy, but you probably know by now, right? Buying pullbacks, well, first of all, timing the perfect pullback is a lot more difficult than it sounds. But don't you worry though, I have two kind of tricks I like to use, two types of trades I like to use to time the perfect pullback for tomorrow. They're both very easy to learn, but honestly, the second one is my favorite and it's potential to be one of our biggest winners of the week. So two perfect pullback techniques I'm watching for tomorrow. I'm gonna cover all the entries, the exits, don't you worry, but by the time we're done tonight, everyone will have a roadmap to make some money on Thursday as well. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in, supporting our channel. Enough of the intro though. Let's go make some more money on Thursday morning. Boy, charts are all ready to go here. What a fantastic session today. NASDAQ, triple Qs are all ready. The E-mini and the SPY is ready. I have three very important clues, simple but important clues on the charts in front of me right now that are telling us where the winning trades are waiting for tomorrow. One of those big clues is right here on these 60-minute, these hourly charts, starting off first here tonight on the S&P and the SPY. We've talked about this all week this week. Bull market up into a trading range. Ranges act like magnets. And of course, after the market went two big legs down, we now expect these buyers to be running our way back up into that trading range. One of three big clues that are tipping us off to the winning trades tomorrow is the bulls are back in control of momentum and trying to make their way up into that range up overhead. But I'll tell you, that's an important clue. But the one thing these hourly charts don't tell me, they don't tell me how to time the best entries, the pullbacks to tomorrow. I have two more important clues on some faster time frames, some tick charts. We're going to grab that in just a moment and wrap this all together to find out the best entries for tomorrow. Before we do that though, let's check schedule for tomorrow because tomorrow's Thursday morning, kind of your typical Thursday morning. But tomorrow morning though, be aware we have the ECB. They're going to probably cut rates again tomorrow, usually sometime between 7:45 and 8:15 Eastern time. We'll hear from the ECB tomorrow morning. So just be aware of that if you're trading the pre-market tomorrow morning. And of course, we got jobless claims and the PPI number coming out at 8:30 Eastern time. So be aware of the ECB tomorrow in the pre-market. And of course, we'll have our charts all prepped up and ready to go for jobless claims. And of course, the PPI number, the little cousin of the CPI report, coming out tomorrow morning as well. Those are two things on my radar for tomorrow morning, so be aware of that. But let's get back to our charts though, because we know the money is made trading off these charts. We talked about how the buyers are back in control of momentum and hunting their way up to that range up overhead. Let's go to some tick charts right now. I trade off tick charts in our trade room every morning. Tick charts make pattern recognition and entry patterns a whole lot easier. All the time frames, by the way, the 7,000 tick chart, upper left-hand corner. And if you're watching for the first time right now, welcome to the channel. That indicator right there is pretty much the only indicator we need. It is the 21 EMA. We use that in lots of different ways every morning in our trade room. I have two more important clues on these tick charts. One very important clue, we have that range from yesterday and that big breakout. Why is it important? Well, because one of the most consistent things about technical analysis is that ranges love to break out and pull back. That's one very big clue on the chart in front of us. But arguably the biggest clue in front of us is the sheer size of that move. Anytime we see a big move higher, there are a number of trades I look for tomorrow. In fact, I have four trades we'll talk about here on the S&P and SPY, and I've got two more bonus trades we'll talk about. I mentioned that second technique. We'll talk about that later on the NASDAQ. So if you like making money, I would definitely watch the entire video for tonight here. Let's talk about that first of four setups I'm watching for tomorrow on the S&P here. The first one is a two-legged pullback. We know these buyers are in control right now, but the size of this move is so large. I don't want to buy high. I want to buy nice and low. And one technique I like to use to time the perfect pullback is to get underneath that moving average. Now, when I say two-legged pullback, think about a measured move that goes a bit too far. I would love to get that down around that breakout pullback zone, but in all reality, it's all based on the size of that first leg. So when I think about a two-legged pullback, I think about one leg, get below the 21 EMA. Second leg, again, think about a measured move that goes a bit too far. Now, remember, I have no crystal ball, right? I don't know how far that will go, so I'm not going to pick the bottom on that. What I do know, though, is that whenever I see a strong move like that, the odds of going back to retest that high, it's almost a guarantee. So when this thing starts pulling back to that moving average, I would love to use what I call a failure pattern in our free video classes. Failure patterns are very simple. We saw a beautiful one off that low. It's simple. Bears try once, bears try twice. And the reason why I like these failure patterns is because once those bears are locked in short, now I can use their stops to fuel that move going back up to retest the high. Now pay attention here because the next entry is very important. On the way back to retest the high, I'm going to look for what I call a trap entry, just like I teach in our free video course. Now, traps are very simple. It's a higher high in price and a move right below that recent low. So one of the 4 trades I'm watching for tomorrow is that two-legged pullback. Trap those bears in. And again, it could be here, it could be lower. I don't know. What I do know is that this is a horrible spot to be selling, just like that is a horrible spot to be selling. So trap in those bears, squeeze those stops, and run back up to retest that high. Once we make the move going higher, don't chase after it. Buy low. You can jump back in on the bear trap entry, or of course you can add on. I always say the easiest way to make more money is to add to your winners, right? So adding more to that position as the market runs back up to retest that high. Now, a second trade out of the 4 trades for tomorrow is a double top reversal. Now think about this, please. Anybody who buys down here, where are their profit targets? Their profit targets are where? Back up to retest the high. After a big move like this, let me ask you, after a big move up like this, is this a good place to be buying? Are we buying low? No, we're buying very high up there. So whenever I see a place where it's a horrible spot to be a buyer, that usually means there's ways to make money trapping in rookie traders. Now watch closely on this. We call these crown reversals in our trade room. If I can get buyers coming in and trying once, go lower, trying twice, it's a lower low in price. Why lower low? Because buyers want to buy low. Rope in those buyers as it pulls back. And the trick to this is it's a little tiny bull trap above that high. Now, these can be very lucrative trades, but the way I do these is I always go with these counter trend trades, like a half size position. If you hit this one correctly, you're not going to need a full size position because it'll want to run all the way back down and take out that low. So the first 2 trades, again, 2 out of 4 of the trades I'm watching for tomorrow. The second one here is that crown reversal or that double top reversal. It'll be that bull trap entry, that technical bull trap we teach so much about inside the free video course. Let's talk about number 3. The third trade I'm watching for tomorrow is called a V bottom. Now, I want to get that two-legged pullback going lower. I want to trap those bears in and squeeze those stops right back up again. It was over here, right? Run it lower. Don't pick the bottom. 1, 2, squeeze those stops. We talked about this last night on the video. Sometimes, though, there are so many buyers down here. Sometimes there's so many buyers after that two-legged pullback, this thing just whoop and runs right back up again. If that happens, I want you to look for this entry pattern. When it begins to V bottom off that low, we don't get the entry we want. I'm going to mark a trend line off these highs. I'm going to pin it down at that low, and that will give me a channel. Now, here's where the magic happens. Look left, find that prior swing low, and get ready for that first test of that channel. Now, you know me, I love traps, right? I love traps. This entry here could be a bear trap like this. It could be a seller failure pattern. It could be a pullback combination. Goal is to go back up and retest the high. If it V bottoms off that low, don't chase after it. Find that new channel, grab that first test. First test is always the best test, right? That is the third trade I'm watching for tomorrow. Now, I have one more trade here for the S&P. Before we talk about that though, let's slow down for a second because I know that most of you guys and gals watching right now, you know these patterns already. You're making money on two-legged pullbacks and failures. You love the traps. But if you're watching for the first time right now, this might be a brand new strategy, a brand new language for you. Don't you worry though. I teach this entire roadmap. I have hundreds, if not more, examples of traps and failures. Guys, I cover so much more of this stuff in our free video classes. I'll put a link up top here for you. Upper right-hand corner, grab that link that popped up and take that free trading course because the strategy I teach in that short video series will teach you a stupidly simple trick we use in our members trade room so we always know where to find the best winning trades each day. Most importantly though, I want to help you time better entries and make more money on your own. I'll teach you 4 my favorite entry patterns, traps, failures. You'll learn everything. The whole entire roadmap's covered there in that free course. Guys, the markets are way too good right now not to be making consistent money. If you're tired of missing the best trades each day, if you've lost your confidence in your current trading strategy, hit that link that popped up there. Take that free video course, learn the roadmap. Perfect for anyone who is serious about making money in these markets. And also keep in mind too, I'm gonna put all the important links we talk about tonight in the description of the YouTube video. I'll put the free class links down there. Start there first. Don't forget, we trade together every day in our members trade room. I'll put trade room information down there for you. And keep in mind too, I post a lot of updates on Twitter or X throughout the day. If you're on Twitter, X, give me a follow. Again, all the details you'll need in the description of that YouTube video. But again, if you're serious about making money, getting better at trading, definitely take that free video course first because everyone loves that free video course. So now we've talked about 3 out of the 4 different trades I'm looking for tomorrow. The final one, and I'm gonna toss in one more bonus here, is a shallow pullback trap. Now we've talked a lot about the fact that I want to get that deep 2-legged pullback to buy nice and low, right? Don't buy high. But sometimes what happens is, sometimes we don't get that 2-legged pullback and we get one strong shot going lower. When that happens, oftentimes we'll pop up. The bears will try to keep this thing going. They'll try to get that second leg lower, but they'll begin to fail. Think about a bear trap entry. In our trade room, we call these shallow pullback traps. The giveaway on this is that it's not going to be a 2-legged pullback, right? It'll usually be just a strong one leg going lower. And then as it begins to pull back here, the bears are trying to short that thing going lower. Now remember, in these scenarios, risk reward is a big, big deal. I don't want to buy as we go higher here with a kind of a classical failure pattern we teach in the free video course, because then remember, the market wants to go back and take out that high, right? If I buy up here, my risk reward is all out of whack, right? That's not going to work. But if I buy a signal candle right there above 21 EMA, now my risk reward ratio is much more balanced. I can build a career on trades like that. So if all we get is one shot lower, or just think about the risk reward ratio on that trade, right? I want to make sure that risk reward ratio is in line. And oftentimes a trap entry is the best way to do that on a shallow pullback trap. Now, I want to talk about the NASDAQ here. I have two more bonus kind of techniques I'm going to talk about on the NASDAQ in a moment. Before we do that though, let's cover one more kind of variation on this, because these are honestly my favorite type of trade here. We oftentimes see a 2-legged pullback. We oftentimes will get a 2-try failure and we squeeze those stops. But you know what? Sometimes what happens is, sometimes we'll get our 1-to-1 first target, move that stop up to point of entry, and what'll happen is they'll go right above these little highs up here and they'll whack it back down one more time here. Remember, this is a really big move going higher, right? So we may be in store for another leg lower. So in these situations, remember, this is not a reversal, not after such a big move higher. What's happening is they're digging this thing lower to attract in more buyers. So if we do get that pullback, again, I want to go back up and take out that high, but if it rolls over and retests that low, promise me, this is not a reversal. This is a gift to the buyers, because anybody who's sold up here, where are they taking their profit targets? Most of them are coming off right there. Is that a good place to sell? Remember, think about this. Wherever the opposite side should not be participating, right? That's a horrible spot to be selling, which means in a big bull market like this, it's a beautiful spot to be a buyer. Now, again, as always, I don't know how far that price will go down. I don't know how far it will go. What I do know, though, is that once it retests that low, all the sellers become buyers down here. If I can get some rookies that are definitely not watching my videos yet, get them trying a couple times, I'll tell you, these double bottom retests can be some of the most lucrative trades because everybody gets squeezed. Everyone gets trapped, right? The bears up here are buyers down here. The rookies get squeezed. Everyone becomes a buyer on these double bottoms. I always say double bottoms in a bull market are kind of a gift from the trading gods. Remember, think about that trap entry too, right? That higher high in price and that trap right below that low. I have a lot of examples of those inside the free video course. So this double bottom retest right now, if it really rolls over and goes, then obviously that will be a bearish reversal. That's a bit more we can cover here tonight on this video. We'll cover that tomorrow morning in our trade room. But think about that 2-try failure, trap those bears in, and then again, either add to your winners to make more that way or jump back in if you're out on the pullback there. And again, the retest is the goal. The goal is the retest. That crown reversal, that bull trap back up off of that high. Man, I'm getting excited just talking about this stuff right now, which is why I do these videos. Okay, so now we've talked about 4 entry patterns on the S&P, one kind of bonus, right? That double bottom retest. Now, that's the first technique I talked about earlier. The second technique we'll cover here right now on the NASDAQ really is kind of easier, and a lot of times it's a lot more lucrative. Now, over on the NASDAQ, before we dive into the NASDAQ, real quickly, if you're enjoying this video right now, please help me support this channel. Hit that like button for us. Make sure you subscribe. And I know there's a buddy of yours out there that can probably benefit from this information too. We'll just share this link with a trading buddy. Thank you so much for supporting our channel. Hitting those like buttons, subscribing, and sharing really helps me kind of grow this channel every time we do it. So thank you so much for supporting our channel and tuning in. Back to our normal schedule though here on the NASDAQ. On the NASDAQ here, big move up, bold move into a trading range. That range acts like a magnet. And again, after 2 legs down, we go right back into that breakout pullback zone. It's amazing. It's amazing. Once you learn how breakout pullbacks work, the markets just make so much more sense. We knew eventually we'd get that pullback because it almost has to, right? Anyways, so breakout pullback zone holds, and then we're trying to go back up into that range up overhead. It's a little bit different than the S&P, but it's pretty much the exact same scenario. And just like the S&P, we're not going to trade off a 60-minute hourly chart. We'll trade off a tick chart, a 4,000 tick chart. You'll see there, upper left-hand corner. Now, I mentioned earlier those 4 trades on the S&P. Everything we talked about on the S&P can be applied basically to the NASDAQ, right? There's your trading range. Think about a breakout pullback off the top of that range. There's that big move higher. What do big moves tell us? They say don't buy high, buy low. When I think about buying low, picking up perfect pullback, I think about a 2-legged pullback, a bit more than a measured move. So again, all of the entry patterns we talked about, all the variations, they all apply to the NASDAQ. Now, I want to talk about what really is my favorite way to trade after a big move going higher. And this is what we're hoping for tomorrow is a trading range. Now, ranges. Ranges are Once you learn how ranges work, they will soon become like, I wish every day was a range-bound market day. Let's talk about some range scenarios. There are two types of range plays I look for after a big move up that we're seeing right now. Now, I don't know where the range will be, right? So excuse me on this. This will be simply an illustration for you to plan for tomorrow. We'll know more where that range is once we see the range develop tomorrow morning. The most important thing about ranges is that ranges act like magnets and they like to rotate. We saw an example of rotation earlier on in the week. So they like to rotate, right? The amount above, the amount below, the amount above, the amount below, right? The amount that we go above a range projects below the range, creates levels of support and resistance, right? They like to rotate. They're going to use triangles. They're going to use pendulum swings. So they're magnets and they love to rotate. Okay, if we understand that basic principle, then it becomes very simple. I want to find levels of support below that trading range. And we'll talk about different types of support levels I use the most. I cover all of that in that free video course, which, by the way, haven't done so yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that link that popped up right there. Take that free course. You'll learn a lot more about ranges in that video course. And again, we'll go into more details of that in that video class. I want to get underneath the range. I want to get into an area of support. And what I want to do is, get that in green here right now. What I want to do is use that same technique, right? I want to get under the moving average. Again, I don't know how far that pullback will go. Right? It may go a lot further than I'm drawing right here, right? I'm not going to make it my job is not to pick tops and bottoms. What I do know is this is the last place you want to sell, right? You would never want to sell at support after a big move up like this, bull market overall, with a range above you. That is trade suicide. But I'll tell you, there are lots of rookies that come into these markets, they have no idea what they're doing, and they're going to short that thing. I did all the time when I was a new trader. So trap them in, use that failure pattern, run those stops, and remember, as it goes back up into that range, this is a great time now to either add to your position, right, or jump back in if you're out of that trade already. Now, this is why I said earlier, these are my favorite and can be the most lucrative kind of variation of picking the perfect pullback, because now, unlike a straight pullback, we'll go back to the high. Where's it want to go now? It wants to rotate, right? It wants to rotate back up again. This is why ranges are oftentimes the more lucrative opportunity, because it wants to rotate all the way back up and you know now where it wants to go. Once again, it's that failure into that trap combination, right? So think about that, and of course the same double bottom retest applies, the same V bottom technique we mentioned earlier. All those different entry technique kind of variations still apply here below a trading range. In fact, you could argue that they're even more reliable now because that range acts like a magnet. All right, guys, that's one easy technique in a range market where things really get fun, right? Let's kick this up. Let's throw some spice on top of this. Let's kick this up a couple notches here. Where this really gets fun is a fake out breakout. The fake out breakout is where things get fun. So again, imagine now we go up in a range. This may not be where the range is for tomorrow. If we go higher here right now, what do you think? After a big move up like this, is that a good place to be a buyer? Probably not. Now, it may keep going. And if it does, we'll look for a breakout pullback. If for some reason they can muster up another big breakout going higher. But I'll tell you, a big move after a big move today, very rare, right? Very rare to get a big move and another big move going higher. Not impossible, but the odds do not suggest that is very likely. If it does happen, we'll tackle that tomorrow in our trade room. What is more likely to happen, though, is as we go higher, rookies don't know this stuff yet. They chase after it. Remember that crown reversal pattern I mentioned earlier? What was it again? Buyers once, lower low, buyers twice. Remember this bull trap we call these crown reversal patterns? Yeah. That's the technique I'll look for off of that high. The bottom line is, as the price goes higher and begins to pull back and buyers start coming in and buying it, I want to get that bull trap above the high there. Oftentimes too, I'll draw a trend line off these lows, pin up around the highs there, and find a channel like that as well. Mwah. That is a gorgeous way to short this. And again, personally, right, I'll oftentimes go with a half size position because again, you're going against the trend overall. And remember though, if you hit these correctly though, these can really roll over and you won't need a full size position. Now, where are targets on something like this? You know this already. You know this already, right? The amount above the range, the amount below the range, that becomes your target, okay? Now, what do you do down here? We follow the same thing, right? Let that moving average come over. This will usually kind of sling a little bit more, right, than that area there. It'll go a little bit further than that pendulum swing, right? Now, as it rolls back in, you know how to trade this now, right? You know, first of all, you know this is not a reversal, right? This has to pull back and keep going quite a bit more for that to be a reversal. What's more likely here is bears getting fooled and chasing after it. This, again, just like a double bottom retest I mentioned on the S&P, can oftentimes be the most lucrative because now everybody who sold up here, they're become buyers down here. Buyers are going to buy low. Sellers are going to buy low, taking profit targets. And once those rookies get squeezed, right, they become buyers as well. And again, that's that failure into that trap combination. And I know I talk about this a lot. I know I repeat myself a lot, but welcome to trading. Trading is repetition. Trading is repetition over and over and over again until it becomes just habit and second nature. When you're seeing these patterns in your sleep at night, you're doing it correctly. You're doing it correctly. So this is one of my favorite ways for tomorrow. It's that bull trap off the high, find that pendulum swing symmetry off the low, trap those bears in, grab that bear trap going higher. So plenty of ways to make money on Thursday. I have no idea what tomorrow will bring, but I do know the game plan is all set. Now, speaking of the game plan, tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time, the easiest way to execute this stuff correctly, come out and do it with me, learn with us, trade with us every morning at our trade room. As always, I'm going to put all the important links you'll need in the description of the YouTube video. I would, as always, start first with the free video class, learn the fundamentals, learn the roadmap. For most people, start making money out there on your own. Any questions, any trouble getting started, you can always simply use the live chat tool on the website if you get any error messages on getting started. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned a lot. Hope you use this knowledge to earn a lot tomorrow. And hopefully I'll see you sometime soon trading with us in the trade room at 8 o'clock Eastern time. In the meantime, be well out there. As always, my name is Joseph. Thanks for tuning in. Be well. Be nice to each other out there. And be here next time, will ya? Adios, amigos. Bye for now.